welcome to Book Club Preview. I'm Michael, and today we're looking at Beast and Beauty, a new book retelling different old fairy tales. And the first story we have is Red Riding Hood. And there's a really good twist to this story. It starts off with talking about this village. And the first day of spring, wolves in the forest will go to the prettiest girl's house and scratch the door. And that means that girl will be, should be given to the wolves for them to eat. Now, if the village doesn't give the wolves the prettiest girl, something bad will happen. No one knows what that is, but they just know something bad will happen. So the villagers gather together and get that one girl, and they kind of push her out into the forest, and they don't let her run away. Now, our character, Red Riding Hood, she wasn't always beautiful. In fact, it's kind of a shock that she became beautiful, because when she grew up, she was not very pretty. But then when she became kind of growing into a woman, her beauty really started to come out. She had a long, beautiful neck, beautiful blue eyes, honey-colored skin, and she just looked really beautiful. And so it wasn't a surprise when the wolves chose her to be the next girl that they're going to eat. This happens once a year. So she's eating her last meal with her mom and dad, and she tries to think of a plan because she doesn't want to die. And so she takes the knife that she's eating her food with and puts it in her basket. Or she doesn't have a basket yet, but she holds it, she cleans it, and she says, I'm going to go to Grandma's house. I need a basket to go to Grandma's house so she can hide the knife. And Mom prepares some things. Dad thinks, man, this is just a waste of food, but he doesn't want to argue. So now she has a basket with some food in it and a knife underneath, and she's like, I'm going to go to Grandma's house, although everyone knows she's going to die. So she goes off into the forest. The village kind of sees and makes sure she doesn't run away and sends her off into the forest. And she's holding this basket and walks out into the forest. As she gets out into the forest, she thinks, man, in our village, the most beautiful girls get eaten. And so no one's really happy in the village because the guys, they have to pick the girls that aren't beautiful. And so they feel some bad feeling towards them. It's meaning like, I'm going to treat you badly, but you should be happy that you're not pretty, because if you were, then the wolves would have eaten you. But the men still look at the beautiful girls as like, I wish I could have married her instead of giving her to the wolves. And so the women there are not happy because they know that they're second best. And the husbands are unhappy because they didn't get to marry the girl that they really wanted to marry. So everyone's not very happy. And Little Red Riding Hood can realize this a little bit more easily because she wasn't born beautiful. So she walks into the forest and the wolves come very quickly. Little Red Riding Hood is a little shocked at first because as the wolves come out, she sees, they're just boys. Oh no, they're wolf boys. They're shape shifters, meaning they can change from a wolf to look more like a human. And she realizes that they're tricksters and they're just trying to play with her. It's kind of a game. And so she sees these kind of half wolf, half boys, and they ask her and they say, pick one of us. And she realizes that they want her to pick one of these wolf boys to be the one to eat her. And there's a game inside there. And she realizes that if she wants to win this game, it's not to resist, it's not to fight, it's not to play, but it's to play the game in a way that she can win. And so she starts looking at the boys, her hand in the basket on the knife. And she sees one boy, the leader. All the other wolf boys, they look skinny. They have like their bones showing. They look really hungry. But the leader, he's handsome and beautiful and well fed. And every girl has always picked him. And so as she looks at him, even she knows that she needs to pick him. I don't know why that is, but he's so handsome that she says, I pick you, the leader. And he's a little bit bored because he's always picked. And so he kind of says, all right, fine. The other wolves are like sad because they're really hungry and they all run off. And the leader comes up to eat Red Riding Hood, but not so fast because, he's not really in a hurry. But she says, you should eat my younger sister. She lives across the river at my grandma's house. She's younger than me. She's more beautiful than me. And when she says this, the leader grabs onto her. And he says, tell me where she is. And she says, why would I tell you? You're just going to eat me anyways. He says, if you tell me, I'll let you be free and you can go back to your home. She says, wolves lie. He says, girls lie too. And if you're lying to me, I will find you and eat you and your family. And so then he's pushing on her neck really hard. She starts bleeding. And she knows that now, no matter what, he will hurt her until she tells him where her younger sister is. So she says, okay, my younger sister, she's across the woods and around the lake, and she's at my grandma's house over here. And he jumps off of her and howls, and they run off to go for the younger sister. Now, she told them how to get to grandma's, but she told them the long way. And the short way, she can get to grandma's house maybe a little bit quicker. She thinks about going back to the village, but she realizes, man, if I go back, no one's going to want me there because other girls might think about running away too. And so they'll probably just kill her or send her back into the forest. So she decides to go to grandma's house. She runs over to grandma's house and she knocks on the door. Grandma opens it up. She's old and wrinkly. And she goes into grandma's house, and we imagine kind of tells her what happened. A few moments later, the leader wolf changes into a handsome boy and goes to the door and starts knocking. And mother says, or a voice says, who's there? And the wolf says, it's your prince. She says, come in. And he comes in. She says, the wolf goes in and says, oh, you look a little wrinkly. She says, oh, a witch cursed me to hide my beauty. And he gets closer. And she says, come closer. And he comes closer. She says, oh, your eyes look a little bit cloudy. Better to see your soul. And then he comes and she says, come closer. Comes closer and says, oh, your lips look a little pruny. Says, oh, to hide my love or something, to break the curse with a true love's kiss. So the wolf goes in and kisses her. And then the grandma just starts to laugh. This makes the wolf really angry because he didn't break the curse. He jumps onto the bed, changes into wolf form, and then behind a chair, or in a rocking chair next to the wall, out comes Little Red Riding Hood with a knife and kills the leader wolf. Ugh. Grandma grabs her broom as the other wolves come in, but they're so scrawny and they're so underfed that Grandma just goes back, 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 and kills all the other wolves with the broom. So they won and they were victorious. But the town never knows this, because still every year a sounds in the forest, and a door of a beautiful girl gets scratched, and a beautiful girl gets sent off into the forest, where she does not get eaten, but she follows a trail and finds an old house with a grandmother there that takes care of her, with full of other beautiful girls who've given up their beauty to just be together. And they howl in the night. And the old grandma wears a red hood and smiles. And that is kind of the end of the twist in this story, which is really, really cool. I love it. Some quick vocabulary words. Urinating means peeing. So the wolves pee on the door and they scratch it. Wanes means to get less and less and less. The sunlight wanes. It goes away as the sun goes down. Seduced is generally we think of a woman, like a woman using her charm to catch some guy. And in the springtime or in the wintertime, it's so long that people feel, oh, maybe the wolves are gone. Maybe the curse is broken. And so the winter and the time seduces them into safety. But when spring comes, the door is scratched and they realize they have to send out the girl. Disperse means to separate, to go apart. Imperiousness is like an empress, an emperor, empire, long and tall and regal, like a queen. A malady is like a sickness. Douses means to go out. If you have a fire and you throw water on the fire, it douses, erases, or covers or stops the fire energy. Tentative is like temporary. Musk is kind of a scent of a man or an animal. You think of like a flower, a bloom, a scent, a beautiful smell. Musk is a heavier, more manly scent. Maybe not bad. It can be very bad. It can be very stinky. But it doesn't have to be. It just has this deep man kind of smell or animal kind of smell. Just two other words here. Too big for your britches. Britches are like pants. And saying too big is you act bigger than the size of your clothes, meaning like a little kid acting very strong. So we can say, I think you're getting too big for your britches, meaning you're acting too big or too strong than you really are. And the last word here, I believe, is impotent. Impotent means you don't have an ability to do something. Usually this means like for a guy having children. So when the wolf kisses the grandma, he doesn't have the power to break the spell. So it's kind of like saying, you're not a man. You're not a prince. You can't have kids, that kind of thing. And that really makes the wolf angry, having that scene in him, that he's not maybe a real man or something like that. That leaves us with our discussion question. When you look at the wolf pack, which wolf would you have chosen? Would you have chosen the leader or one of the other guys? And of course, please make your own discussion question. That is all the time that we have for today. But thank you so much for joining me for this episode of Book Club Preview. I'll see you soon. Bye-bye.